Hi guys, welcome back to East of the Moon Tarot. I am Sierra. I will be your whatever I am right now. Before we get into NaNoWriMo Day 2, or NaNoWriMo Tarot Day 2, I wanted to go over a couple of things real quick. First, I live in the middle of nowhere. My upload speeds are just deplorable. The day 1 video I started uploading an hour ago, and we're at 3%. For reference, it's a 28-minute long video. So we're going to be here for a while as far as the upload speed goes. So I don't know that these videos are going to go out necessarily on the day that I intend them to go out. So that's part number 1. I also don't know how badly my upload speed is going to affect the video quality, because everything that I'm recording looks really good to me. But I've had problems in the past where once it gets uploaded, it's extremely blurry and pixelated. So I apologize if the video quality is terrible. There's really nothing that I can do about that. I'm doing this for fun. I'm not making any money doing this right now. Maybe it'll turn into that one day, but this is just for fun. I've got my computer open next to me, which I will be referring to as we go, just to kind of keep myself on track. I tend to ramble a lot. I'm ADD. I will go down wormholes and lose my train of thought. I will say and like and stuff like that a lot. So yeah, it'll be an interesting ride. I also have 2 dogs and a cat. Everybody is sleeping sweetly and peacefully right now and being nice and quiet. So hopefully that will continue, but I don't know if it will or not. So welcome. I guess the only other thing that I should probably say before going any further in these videos is that I have a potty mouth. If that is going to bother you or offend you in any way, please don't watch any of my goddamn content. Just don't. It's not for you. There's plenty of clean, fluffy ass, positive love and light bullshit content out there for you to consume. Don't go into my comment section and get your panties all in a bunch because you don't like it that I said the F word. Okay. So now on to the good stuff. NaNoWriMo Day 2, or NaNoWriMo Tarot Day 2. So NaNoWriMo Tarot, if you didn't watch video 1, maybe go back and watch it just to get a little explanation in. But basically, I am going to be helping you, hopefully, in outlining a novel for National Novel Writing Month, which is next month in November. The goal in National Novel Writing Month is for participants to completely finish writing a novel in 30 days. That's a 50,000 word novel in 30 days, which seems really, really challenging, and absolutely it is. But the point of it is, yes, to challenge yourself, but it's to see what you can accomplish when you take away, when you take away time to think, time to overthink, really. Because that's a problem that a lot of writers, I think a lot of creatives in general, get too much in their heads about things, and then we stop producing. I know that's a problem that I have. That's one of the reasons I decided to just go ahead and jump into the YouTube stuff. I really don't like video. It makes me very uncomfortable, but it's so easy and accessible as opposed to things like doing just audio content, which I could do with a podcast, but there's just so much more that goes into that, and I'm really not good with technology. So even though the upload speeds are going to be terrible, and even though I'm really uncomfortable on video, this, it seemed like maybe I should just jump right in with both feet and start putting stuff out there. So that's what I'm going to try to do. not give myself time to overthink it, not give myself time to like be critical. I won't be editing these videos. I saw that YouTube has some cool filters and stuff that you can put on your videos. Maybe I'll play with those. I'm not really a filter person, but otherwise, I don't know how to video edit. I have no clue. I've got some great music that I had recorded for my podcast that I would love to be able to put in as the intro to this series, but I don't know how. That's not going to happen. Yeah, so you're getting me unedited. Anyways, so today, the exercises that I have for NaNoWriMo Tarot Day 2 are all about meeting your protagonist, your main character. So in recent years, we've been seeing a lot more books come out that play around with I guess things that are accepted and established. So there are books that exist that don't have a person as a protagonist or a main character. They're still very few and far in between. If that's something that you want to work on, if you want to do more of like a heavy concept novel or something like that, then today's exercises may not help you. I haven't really explored these exercises as they could be used in that way. So there may still be good stuff here, but if you're going to do something weird like have the house as your main character, or a fruit fly or a dog or whatever, you may want to skip this. I will also say main character, protagonist doesn't necessarily have to be the good guy in your story. Again, there's lots of new stuff that's just kind of challenging our preconceived notions about fiction, about media, about like any of these kinds of experiences. And so, your main character could be the villain. We're seeing a lot more of that now. So, as with all of these exercises, and as with anything, make it your own. You are not confined to any of this. You can absolutely go through and do basically whatever the hell you want to do. These are just tools used to help you. There's no right or wrong way to do it. As an example, I'm wearing the same clothing as video 1. It's because I'm recording on the same day as video 1. I just changed my headband because the other one was kind of giving me a little headache. But yeah, do whatever you gotta do whatever you need to do. Don't follow anybody else's rules, and fuck the police. So, interviewing our hero and meeting our protagonist are the main portions of today. So first we need to decide who your hero is. You might want to pause the video right now, take whatever deck you're using. I haven't showed off my deck of the day yet, but I will be using Anya Khan's gorgeous Silver Era Tarot. Because if you remember from episode 1, we determined that my genre and subgenre is going to be like fantasy and magical realism. And I'm writing my novel for everyone. It's not going to be geared towards a specific demographic, which is very dangerous, but nothing if not daring. And also, I probably won't ever try to get this published because I'm too scaredy. But so let me just gush over this deck real quick. Because again, I'm not going to do a full deck review, but I love Anya. Anya, I hope I'm saying your name right. I love her artwork. She's incredible, very, very inspirational person. I'm so lucky to know her just a little bit. I mean, we're not great friends or anything, but we're friends on Facebook, and I've been following her for years and years now, and I'm just always blown away by everything she creates. So I obviously love this deck. I love the artwork. And again, I apologize if my video quality is not super great, if you can't see these beautiful cards, but like, her work is just stunning. Recently, she's been working on some collaborations with another artist. I believe the person's name is M. Divina. I hope I got that right. My apologies if I did not. But you should definitely go check her out. Her name is AUNIA Kahn. So that's Anya Khan. She's the creator, again, of the Silver Era Tarot. And I chose to work with this deck because it does people really well. And for your day 2, because we're entirely focusing on your main character, you want to choose a deck that does people very well. That doesn't mean that like your Herb Crafter's Tarot or whatever could not give you a brilliant character from working with that deck, but you don't see people in that deck, so it is a little bit more difficult. I don't know if you want to give yourself that much of a challenge for this, especially because these exercises are a lot longer for day 2 than they are for most of the other days. So just something to keep in mind. The first thing that you want to do once you've chosen whatever deck you're going to work with today, and you can choose to use different decks on different days, like I used the Lonely Dreamer Tarot yesterday. Today I'm using the Silver Era Tarot. Or you can choose to just work with the same deck throughout all of the exercises if that makes your life easier. Whatever you want to do, this is your journey. So the first thing that you are going to want to do is take about 2 minutes to go through your deck and pull out all of the court cards. That's your pages, your knights, your queens, and your kings. If you want to include your major arcana cards, the ones that show people, you absolutely can do that. I don't think it's necessary, and I would recommend restricting it to just the court cards, but totally up to you. So court cards are often used to indicate specific people in tarot readings. That's why we are using those and just those for this exercise, because part of what you'll be learning to do, if this is not something that you already know how to do, throughout this workshop series is using the court cards specifically, like, to understand character traits, personality traits, things like that in individuals. So give your court cards a good shuffle. You can just do a little overhand, like I tend to do. And then draw your card in whatever way makes you comfortable. I wanted to, when I was putting this series together in 2017, I wanted to use a lot of different techniques because I feel like when you're doing any kind of creative process, having too many rules or too much structure can be detrimental to that. So yeah, I got really fun and really free with it. So I'm just going to kind of hover my hand around, and there's, ooh, my Knight of Swords. Knight of Swords being my protagonist. So yeah, pull your protagonist. If you're not comfortable with the protagonist you feel like you pulled, pull a different protagonist. Maybe I don't want my protagonist for my magical realism novel to be the Knight of Swords. Maybe I want something softer than that. So let's try this again. Queen of Swords. So see, the sword suit really wants to be present in this novel. So I think I'm going to go with that. I'll go with the Queen of Swords rather than the Knight of Swords. Isn't she stunning though? Sorry, I'm having to angle the cards weird because the cardstock is really glossy and I have such shit lighting in this place. Okay, so I'm gonna pause for just 1 second because I can hear my neighbors coming up the driveway and my dogs are about to freak out. So 1 moment. Sorry about that, guys. The dogs are settled down again. So we were talking about our protagonist card. We've got my Queen of Swords. A couple of things to consider when you get your protagonist. So you can choose to use any aspect of what you see represented on this card. Your character can just look like the person on the card, or your character can have those characteristics. So the Queen of Swords is extremely intelligent, very witty. She's got a sharp tongue. You know, she's a no-nonsense kind of badass bitch, you know, if we're just looking at her characteristics. This girl, or woman, she's got a very flapper-esque kind of 1920s Theta Bara vibe, very vamp. So I can choose to work with the way the character is depicted on the card. I can choose to work with the characteristics and so on and so forth. You can even get more playful, more creative with it. Like, let's say I don't want her to be a queen. Let's say I want her to be a king. Okay, well, I'm just going to gender swap. I will keep all of the characteristics of the Queen of Swords, but make the Queen of Swords be male, because I can do that, because I can do whatever the hell I want, because we can all just do whatever the hell we want. There are no rules. This is pure anarchy. So once you've got your character, you're going to want to combine your court cards back into your full deck, because the second exercise is a little bit lengthier. There's more of a spread, and I will be posting the written portion of these exercises as well as the spreads that I've designed in the description, if I'm able to. I don't know, because I don't use YouTube that often, so I don't know if I'm able to put picture comments, but if not, the spreads themselves will be posted on Instagram and Facebook and within the Divination Guild group on Facebook. So want to give these a good shuffle. This deck is huge, so it's really difficult to riffle shuffle. I have an injury to one of my hands, so riffling is difficult for me these days anyway. But yeah, you want to get those court cards really well incorporated before we move on to interviewing our hero, which is the much more lengthy portion. So just checking my notes here. You can be really, really literal with these cards, as far as using assigned meanings and values, keywords and things like that, or you can be more intuitive with it. Just go based off of the artwork or your gut or whatever your knee-jerk association with the particular card that you pull for each thing. It is important, especially for the exercise that we're about to go through, for you to be able to think in the abstract and really get out of your head. Don't try to make the cards conform to what you want them to conform to. Go into this with a very, very open mind, because there's going to be a lot of potential avenues that you can go down to explore this next exercise. The only other tip that I would give here is regarding, like, I even made a note in my own notes to talk about this, because a lot of my tarot students, they will pull, for instance, the question for a spread might be very positive, and it will say something like, what is your strength, or what is your greatest strength, which is one of the questions for interviewing your hero. And then let's say you pull like the devil for your greatest strength. the devil doesn't seem like a very positive card, and so it can be really confusing, especially for new readers, to see a positive question answered with a negative card. I want you guys to explore a little bit more deeply. So in our example with the devil, like, how can the devil be a strength? Well, maybe the strength is in overcoming the devil, if we wanted to make it really easy on ourselves. Or maybe the strength is in letting go of the societally enforced notions of good versus evil, of sin and sinner. Like, maybe the greatest strength is in, abandon, revelry, like letting yourself get swept up in a moment and not questioning it. That can be a strength too. And that can be a strength represented by the devil. So keep an open mind. Explore things. This should be very exploratory, and it should be very revelatory for you. Okay, so I'm going to pull up the spread itself so that I can go line by line. I think there's like 7 or 8 cards in this spread, so that'll keep me from rambling for 10 minutes while I and try to remember things. Hold please. And we're back. Okay, so interviewing our hero. Before we jump right in, I wanted to mention there's a couple of really great resources. I think, the very first spread question that we have is, what kind of job, if any, does your hero have? And because that's not something that's like standardly taught, and it's not in a lot of reference material regarding tarot, there are 2 really great free online resources that I found that relate tarot to occupation. Now, you may not agree with all of the correspondences that the 2 individuals that wrote these articles came to, but they are really, really great, especially if you find yourself stuck on this very first question. So I'm going to post the links to those. One of them is at tarotwikipedia.com. The other one is at ata-tarot.com. But I'll post the actual links so that you don't have to flounder around searching for those. All right, so interviewing our hero. Like I said, the very first question that we are coming up on is, what does your hero even do? We already have an idea of who our hero or heroine is. I have my Queen of Swords, so let's find out what kind of occupation she has. I've just been shuffling. Oh, the Chariot. So that's a nice, easy one as far as occupation goes. She could, let's say this is contemporary. She could be a taxi, Uber, bus driver. She could be a train conductor. She could be a ship's captain or an airplane pilot, or any number of things. And of course, you can get much more creative with your interpretations regarding the Chariot and how it would relate to occupation. But when tarot makes things easy for me, I tend to go with easy. So I'm gonna say my heroine she's gonna be this bomb-ass 1920-something female pilot. Let's go with that. I've done no historical research on this, so we're gonna go with that for now. But we've got our occupation, and that was pretty easy for me. It might be more difficult for you, that's why I mentioned those resources. But play around with it, see what it feels like or what the person's doing in the card, and depending on what period of time you're setting your novel in, you might want to see how you can update or regress that job, because typically people have been doing the same sorts of things since the beginning of time. we've always found ways to accomplish the same tasks. We just have newer, more complicated ways of doing that now. So question number 2 is what is my hero's defining characteristic? Tarot is good for this. It's good for showing how people behave, personality traits, things like that. So the Hanged Man. So the Hanged Man as a defining character trait, well, she's turning into a little bit of a typical trope in that she's going to be the unwilling, unwitting hero. She's the reluctant hero. The Hanged Man doesn't want to get involved. Hands off, like back way the fuck up. I'm just going to chill out over here while y'all handle your business. I don't want to be in anybody's drama. That's kind of the energy of the Hanged Man. That's what I would say in this situation. So she very much wants to be left alone, to just kind of do her thing. She wants to stay out of it. Question 3, what makes your hero memorable or forgettable? Ten of Pentacles. So she's rich. She's an heiress. That's what people remember about her. And see how my character is really kind of coming together right now? Because we started with, okay, so she's this intelligent woman, and I did decide to use this deck intentionally because I liked the time period that the deck is set in. So she's this kind of industrial aged, roaring 20s, intelligent, educated kind of woman who travels independently, and that's her vocation anyway. She likes to stay out of other people's shit. And 10 of Pentacles, how else can you read that? Obviously she's an heiress. I mean, come on. So I definitely say she's probably a very memorable person, given that. Card number 4 deals with talent. What talents does your hero have? Let's see what our chicky chick has. Knight of Wands. Our chick is a playa. I like this. I like the slut energy that I get from the Knight of Wands, especially when it comes up regarding a female or female identifying individual. I like slutty girls. So I really like that her talent is going to be, getting busy. This is turning into a very interesting novel that I'm going to be writing, huh? Okay, so the next 2 cards are going to be Greatest Flaw and Greatest Strength. So I'm going to go ahead and just pull those together. There's no sense in dragging them out. All right, Greatest Flaw, Greatest Strength. For Greatest Flaw, we have the 10 of Wands, which actually is probably my own greatest flaw. I take on way too much, way more than I can handle, get overwhelmed. So I can relate to my character on that one. Greatest Strength, Page of Wands. Greatest Strength being the Page of Wands. So she's really, really good at pursuing whatever flights of fancy she has in the moment. She is not a worrier. She's not going to get really, really stressed out or whatever, even though she takes on too much. She's still, like, her greatest strength is that it's that pure passion, that pure inspiration and intensity that kind of comes with the energy of this card. So her greatest flaw and her greatest strength are kind of 2 sides to the same coin, essentially. All right. Card 7, Deepest Desire. What does our mystery maven desire? Okay. Deepest desire. Okay, so we've already established in our story that our chick is an heiress, right? So why would her deepest desire be the Five of Pentacles? During that time period, women of means, I guess, women of socioeconomic privilege were extremely disadvantaged in other ways. They had a lot less choice over what to do with their lives in some ways than, I guess, like poor women or average people. So I could take it to mean something like that. But I want my my Queen of Swords to have a little bit of a soft, gooey center. So I'm going to say her greatest desire is to use those resources to help people. So I want to put her in the position of like she's the person inside the chapel that's like waiting to like give alms or feed these people and help them get back on their feet. So that's how I want to read that. Okay. So we are going on to fear. What does your protagonist fear the most? And you'll notice I just kind of keep shuffling throughout this. I could just have pulled, the first 10 cards and laid them all out, but that's not my style. I like to change it up as we go through and focus on each question as an individual unit. So her greatest fear is the Nine of Swords. So that tells me, again, I relate to this to an extent anyway. Her greatest fear has something to do with fear itself, maybe with sleeping, maybe she's afraid of the dark. I'm gonna go with maybe she's terrorized by night terrors and has sleep paralysis, because that's where I want to go with this. And again, it's my novel, so I can do whatever I want. All right. Next is home and family life. So if your hero has a home or a family life, this is where you're going to learn about it. I had a couple of things jump out at me, but we're going to ignore them and shuffle them back in. Fun. So we got the Fool. That could mean that her family is a lot less restrictive than one would think for a family at the time. So maybe she comes from a family of eccentrics, people that are free-spirited, especially for their time period. I really like that. And then probably the most important question that you can ask about your hero, I would say, regardless of whether or not you're using tarot to write, is what is your hero's primary motivation? You always need a reason for your hero to be doing everything. And especially if you have a reluctant hero like the one that I'm about to write. The reluctant hero thing has been honestly done to death. It's a trope for a reason, but it is a trope. So if you end up with that, you really very much do need to be clear about like, why is your hero doing what they're doing? I pulled the Queen of Cups. So she's doing what she's doing for someone else. Somebody else is her primary motivation, because I like to read court cards as individuals. So I could read this as a sister, as a mother. I could read this as her lover, and I probably am going to read it as her lover because I kind of want to make this a lesbian romance because I fucking can. So, this is her beautiful, enchanting lover. and that's going to be her motivation. All right, so now that you have interviewed your hero, that's all of the official content for day 2. If you want, I will record and release a short segment with the bonus content on naming your character using tarot. So tune back in. I will probably release that on the same day I release this. So just check for that. They will upload separately. But I don't want these videos to get too terribly long. So I'm going to pack it in for now. Thank you all for joining me. I really hope that this process is as helpful for the rest of you as it has been for me and as it has been for other people in previous years. So again, I'm posting all of this content on Instagram and on my Facebook page, East of the Moon Tarot, as well as in the Divination Guild group on Facebook. So yeah, go check everything out. Join the group, follow me on Instagram or Facebook, subscribe here if you'd like to see more content, and yeah, shout out. Let me know how your stories are coming along. I'm really interested to see what kind of progress everybody's making if you're engaging in this. So thanks for tuning in. I will have more videos for you later, and yeah, happy writing.